number of students are remote, not participating in classes today in person while we wait to see what happens. So we could just as easily have this get pushed down out of the headlines as we've seen from so many other of these recent Trump controversies in the race's closing weeks. Jose?
And Aaron, meanwhile, the vice president actually happened to release her policy plan for Puerto Rico yesterday. How's the Harris campaign responding to all of this today?
Well, we'll see the vice president here in Michigan a little later on today. But just yesterday, as you noted, she was in Philadelphia visiting. She was at a Puerto Rican restaurant visiting with members of the Puerto Rican community in Philadelphia yesterday when this news about these comments at the Trump rally sort of came out. And during her time at that restaurant, the vice president's team did release her plan for Puerto Rico, a plan that included creating a task force to address some of the major issues that people on the island are having to deal with. Her plan also included details for managing and improving the energy grid in Puerto Rico, which we know has been rife with problems for so many years now. She talked about building the economy for the island as well, and about bringing down housing costs and trying to support families in Puerto Rico. And what we saw from the campaign during the day, during the night and this morning was this sort of side-by-side, this split screen showing the comments that were made at the Trump rally beside Vice President Harris appearing at this restaurant and offering this plan for people who live in Puerto Rico. And so the campaign, while it hasn't directly reacted to the comments that were made yesterday, it said, take a look at what we're dealing with now. This is the plan for helping people in Puerto Rico. These are some of the comments that we're seeing on the other side. And the vice president's team also offered that people like Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez and Ricky Martin have also elevated her plan for Puerto Rico. They have massive social media followings individually. And so together, just an incredible number of people see their posts. And the Harris Walz campaign has made sure that people can see that they have reposted what the vice president had to say yesterday, Jose.
I mean, Aaron, the vice president is also heading back to Michigan today after campaigning alongside former First Lady Michelle Obama over the weekend. What's the Harris team's message with the former First Lady?
Well, let's talk about that first. They were in Kalamazoo together on Saturday night for what they billed as a Get Out the Vote rally, an opportunity for these two women to appear together for the first time during this campaign cycle and talk about making sure people get out and actually cast votes. But also there was a major focus on reproductive health and reproductive freedom during the event there in Kalamazoo. I want you to hear some of what the former First Lady had to say on the stage in her 40-minute speech that people were intently paying attention to.
To the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women. Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctor if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away. And this will not just affect women, it will affect you and your sons.
Now, Vice President Harris will be back here in Michigan. She'll start in Saginaw today, visiting a semiconductor facility in that area where she is expected to talk about creating more manufacturing jobs, creating opportunities for people who work in that industry. She'll come here to Warren in Macomb County, Michigan, a little bit later in the day, where she'll visit a training academy in this area that helps folks who are looking for these sorts of manufacturing jobs as well before she moves on to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Jose, this is an incredibly important state, as you know. Michigan is. It's one where already 1.7 million people have cast ballots in early voting that started statewide just on Saturday. And so the vice president is spending as much time as possible here talking about the work that she's done to create jobs in this area, talking about, for example, an investment from the Biden-Harris administration that was announced just last week, $325 million to help with manufacturing growth and development in Michigan as well. And so this is something that the vice president we expect to focus on in her remarks later on this evening when she holds this big rally with her running mate Tim Walz in Ann Arbor, Jose.
Aaron Gilchrist and Garrett Haake, thank you both so very much. And for more on this and to continue our conversation, joining us now is veteran journalist Julio Ricardo Varela, founder of the Latino newsletter and an MSNBC columnist. I also have to say, on a personal level, someone who I very much respect. Julio, I've got to tell you, just the beginning of our conversation, I've just like feel sick to hear someone, anyone, anywhere, talk about Puerto Rico like if, like what he did, and then that comedian. And I was struck by your comments last night. You posted on social media, quote, "I am tired. So tired of the continued American tradition of using comedy to insult Puerto Ricans, from West Side Story to Seinfeld to Work It to the Trump comedian today. It's raw and insulting." And Julio, how do you express what it is that we're all feeling?
You know, Jose, it's just that felt exhausting, because it doesn't surprise me. And I'm really glad you shared the tweet, because, I've been a Puerto Rican for more than 50 years. And I do think there is an American tradition of just assuming that we're just second class and we're garbage, Jose. And the fact that even in this political campaign, people laugh it off. And what I'm really, really disappointed about fellow Americans is that they lack the understanding of who we really are as a people. And so we become this trope, this stereotype, this joke that has just become part of the American culture, and anyone can get away with it. And I'll be honest with you, Jose, like, that's the reason why I use that example. This isn't a right and left issue anymore. And I know there's a lot of talk about, like, well, this is going to win Puerto Ricans for Harris in Pennsylvania and Florida. Let's put the politics aside for a second. This is about respecting a people. This is about respecting a people that have been part of the United States since it was invaded in 1898. This is about colonialism, right? And we don't talk about this as Americans. And we don't talk about the fact that political parties have been perpetual supporters of a colonial system that, to be honest with you, has done very little to improve Puerto Rico. Ever since Hurricane Maria in 2017, you've seen a change on the island. And people are starting to understand that, yes, we are part of the American political system, but we demand respect and we demand sort of being paid attention to. And yes, the timing of this politically is going to benefit the Harris campaign. But at the same time, we've been here before with the Trump campaign, Jose, in 2015. Everyone was like, well, he's attacking Latinos, and he won. So I think we have to sift the political from the humanity aspect of it. And I wanted to use that tweet to elevate who we are as a people.
You know, to think that even in 1998, the Treaty of Paris, 1898, the Treaty of Paris,
1898,
where no one but the powers were included, not even as observers. And I'm talking about Puerto Rico, and I'm talking about Cuba, and let's talk about the Philippines, and let's talk about what that has meant, the repercussions of that till today. But Julio, and to think how the people of Puerto Rico have put their quota of blood fighting for the United States of America in every single conflict. The biggest quota of blood has been by, among others, Puerto Ricans. And it's just like infuriating to see that this can be included in a discussion about politics. And it also is more than just Puerto Rico and Puerto Ricans. Here's, for example, Julio, part of what former President Trump said about his opponent and about migrants. Take a listen to this.
She has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. They're coming from all over the world. Over the last month, 181 countries violated our laws. And she has resettled them into your communities to prey upon innocent American citizens.
And, you know, you were just talking about this. This is nothing new. I mean, you know, go back to 2015.
No,
go back to 2015.
It's not nothing new. And this is the part that really infuriates me about this, Jose. You know the people that are living here. Like, you know, this whole notion of migrant gangs and Venezuelans. How many Venezuelans do you know who believe in the American dream right now? I mean, I know them personally, right? And they're the ones that are saying, that's not who we are, right? And so the thing is, this is a clear moment in American history. And you know, American history has always been like this, right? We always have to blame the other. And here we go again. So this is a defining electoral moment for this country where it gets to this very simple conclusion. Are we afraid of change, right? Or are we understanding that the best that America can offer is that we continue to move with the change, right? And so I understand, you know, we can get into immigration enforcement policy, bipartisan issue for the last 30 years. Look it up. There's plenty of words that came out of Democratic presidents in the 90s that are coming out of Trump's mouth. And I'm not trying to equate this, but at the same time, we need to be honest with ourselves as an American society that we're either going to say that the American dream is the greatest marketing message in the world, and that's what's attracting people to here, and that's what makes America amazing, our immigrant and migrant communities. Or we're going to say, we're going to close up shop, and we're not going to let anyone else in. And I don't think that's what America is. And I still believe in the messiness of American democracy. As a Puerto Rican, I still believe that Puerto Rico has a future in the context of America. But the thing is, the history will prove that there's pasito a pasito, little steps to what we believe is American democracy. And, you know, we're used to the Trump message. Latinos are tired of Trump's message. We know he's extreme. He's going to get 35%. It's the other 65% of Latinos who are like, I'm done with this.
Julio Ricardo Varela, I very much appreciate, always very much appreciate you on this day, maybe more than you will know. Julio Ricardo Varela, thank you.
Gracias.
Appreciate it. Un abrazo. Still ahead, deadly violence at a bus stop in Israel as the world awaits Iran's response to Israel's retaliatory airstrikes over the weekend. We're live with the very latest. Back at home, new reporting on how Vice President Harris is going after Donald Trump using his own playbook. And in battleground Michigan, today's the day cities across the state begin counting absentee ballots for the first time. But first, what some Arizona voters are telling us about the racist remarks about Puerto Rico at Trump's rally yesterday.
I think it's disgusting.
It doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is the amount of people that are still voting for him.
I think you can say it jokingly or whatnot, but there's a time and a place for everything. I don't think that's a good thing to say on national television.
Vehicle breakdowns are costly.
It started making some really weird noises.
If your check engine light comes on tomorrow, the repair could easily cost thousands.
Is that transmission?
But with Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a costly repair again.
They covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
$1,400. Endurance paid it.
Who's going to pay for your next car repair? You or Endurance?
Call right now to get $300 off any plan. Call now.
Grandpa and I used to work on this together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will, something you can sign and make official. Start your will at trustandwill.com and make it count.
Major